I am teacher Ronald Canton, your science teacher for today. How are you kids? I hope that you are doing fine in this time of pandemic. And don't forget to wear face mask, wash your hands, and practice social distancing at all times. I know that you are excited for our discussion today. To start, please get ready your pen, your paper, and your modules as we go along with our discussion. So what are we waiting for? Let's begin! Can you say something about the picture? Picture number 1.
Preview.
Is the object familiar? You're right. Your parents usually use this in the kitchen. Like draining the pasta to make your favorite spaghetti. What else? Very good. I remembered Mom used that thing also for baking. How about the second picture? Good job. A mountain of salt. And that's the basic ingredients for cooking and baking. But do you know how to make a salt? We will know the answer in your activity later. Now, let's answer these statements. We will draw a check if the statement is true, while X if it's not. Number 1. Filtration is used for separating the undissolved solids from liquids by using a filter. Very good. The correct answer is check. How about decantation is done by allowing the solution to settle at the bottom of the container and pouring off the particle-free part of the liquid. Good job! The answer is check. Do you have any idea of our topic today? You got it right. We're going to describe the different techniques in separating mixtures, and that is sieving and evaporation.
Preview. 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 Preview.
And for our vocabulary enrichment, let's define these words. Sieving is a separation technique based on the difference in particle size. Evaporation, the process of turning liquid into vapor. This time, let's do the separation challenge. First challenge, put a generous amount of hand sanitizer on your hands. After that, let's begin rubbing it. And let's start rubbing our hands. Let's rub and rub and rub our hands. Are you kids following me? It's so fun rubbing our hands, and let's see what happened after rubbing it. And now we're almost finished rubbing our hands for 35 seconds. And there we go. And we're done. After rubbing it for 35 seconds, question: what happened to the hand sanitizer on your hands? Correct. Hand sanitizer's active ingredient is alcohol, a volatile compound that evaporates rapidly. That's why rubbing your hands together created more heat that evaporated the alcohol into a vapor form even faster. Next, prepare a 1/4 cup of sea salt. Using the sieve, slowly pour the salt into it and gently shake it from side to side. And now the materials are already there. So what we gonna do is let's get the salt first and put it inside the sieve. And after that, let's begin shaking it. Let's shake and shake and shake and shake and shake another one, kids. Let's shake it for another one. and shake it and shake it and shake it again, and let's see what will happen. Question: what is left in the sieve after shaking? Good job! The larger crystals of the salt was left in the sieve, while the finer particles just passed through the sieve. These two things that you did are related to evaporation and sieving, the techniques in separating mixtures. And now it's time for our activity. Our activity today is all about mixing with mixtures. All we need are flour, rice grains, bowl, spoon, salt, water, beaker or pan, sieve, and the glass. For the first activity, it's okay, fine. In a bowl, mix the flour and rice grains. After mixing, pour gently the mixtures to a sieve. Then, shake the sieve from side to side and observe what happens. Our materials for this activity are all set. So we have the rice grains, flour, our sieve, a spoon, and our bowl. And let's begin with our okay fine activity. And there you go, our flour. The next thing is our rice grains. Using our spoon, we're gonna mix it together. Just be gentle, okay? And just slowly mixing the flour and the rice grains. And I'm sure that we will get there, okay? And we are done mixing it together. The next thing is we will pour the mixture in the sieve and we will shake it afterwards. And let's see what will happen next. Let's shake the mixture. And there you go. We are already shaking it. We are done. And there you go, our rice grains in the sieve and our flour. Question: what particles of the mixture pass through the sieve? Based on your activity, the flour has finer and smaller particles pass through the hose of the sieve while the rice grains stayed into it. Next, why do some particles of the mixture stay in the sieve? When the mixtures with different sizes are placed in the sieve, it will be moved back and forth gradually. That is why the substances which have bigger and coarser particles like the rice grains stayed in the sieve. What technique in separating mixtures is used? The technique used in separating the mixtures of flour and rice grains is called sieving. The next activity that we're gonna do right now is the crystal evidence. Here are our procedures for this activity. First, half fill a glass with water and 1 tablespoon of salt. Second, stir thoroughly the glass with water and salt to form a salt solution. Next, gently pour the salt solution in the beaker or a pan. Number 4, heat the beaker or a pan with the salt solution. Let it boil until the water has evaporated, leaving a solid residue. And the last procedure is, let the setup cool for about 2 minutes and observe what happens. In this activity, we will demonstrate how to separate salt solution by the process of evaporation. Question. Can you still identify the salt after combining it with water? Is it a yes or a no, and why? Correct! It is a no. When the salt is mixed with water, the salt dissolves. Once it dissolves, it becomes a homogeneous solution. How about, why is heat applied on the beaker or in the pan with salt solution? Based on the activity, heat is applied on the pan with salt solution because it allows liquid to evaporate while leaving the residue or the solid behind. The residue produced during the heating process is called salt crystals. Last question. What technique did you use to separate the solid from the liquid component of the mixture?
Preview.
The technique used to separate the solid from the liquid component of the mixture is known as evaporation. After doing our activity, each group will present their outputs. For the group 1, they will draw. For the group 2, they will sing. And for the group 3, they will make a poem. Discussion time! What are the techniques and separating mixtures we did while doing the activities? Good job! The separating techniques used in the activities are sieving and evaporation. Second question, when is the sieving technique used? Correct! Sieving is done by allowing the dry mixtures with different sizes to pass through a device with tiny holes called a sieve. Last question, how were the components of the salt solution separated? The components of the salt solution separated through evaporation. It is a separation of components by heating a solution until the liquid turns into gas, leaving the solids behind. The object in the picture is a sieve. It is a shallow vessel having holes at its bottom. This is generally used to separate coarse particles from fine particles. Let's watch this video.
Sometimes we may wish to prepare a dish with flour. We need to remove impurities and bran that may be present in it. What do? We use a sieve and pour the flour into it. Sieving allows the fine flour particles to pass through the holes in the sieve, while the bigger impurities remain on the sieve. In a flour mill, impurities like husk and stones are removed from wheat before grinding it. Usually, a bagful of wheat is poured on a slanting sieve. The sieving removes pieces of stones, stalk, and husk that may still remain with wheat after threshing and winnowing. You may have also noticed similar sieves being used at construction sites to separate pebbles and stones from sand? Yes, you have? Very good.
Let's watch this video.
She put the saltwater solution in a pot, turned the heat on, and let the mixture set into a boil. The smoke from the mixture is the water turned into a gas. After a few minutes, the water disappeared, leaving only the salt crystals in the pot. The white residues are the salt crystals. Can you see them? Turn the heat off, and then let's see. This is now the salt. What happened to the water? Did it really disappear? The water in the mixture did not disappear. It became a gas called water vapor. In the next experiment, I want to show to you another proof of evaporation taking place. Let's watch the experiment. We used salt water solution, but this time we added a water-based blue food color. As you can see, after a few minutes, the blue food color is now visible in the tissue paper. The blue color is the evidence of water vapor passing through the tissue paper. In the previous experiment, we did not see a blue color since we did not put any food coloring in it. So this is what it looks like if we did not cover it with a tissue paper. The water is slowly disappearing, leaving only blue salt crystals. To sum it up, evaporation happens when a liquid substance turns into a gas. The water, which has disappeared based in the experiments, did not really disappear. Instead, it evaporated into a gas called water vapor. Evaporation only occurs when heat is applied, like when we dry our clothes under the heat of the sun. Did you know? In most cases, the drying of puddles, ponds, or even lakes is a proof of evaporation taking place.
And now, let's check what you have learned all throughout the lesson by writing true if the statement is correct and false if it's not. Number 1. A sieve is used to separate mixtures of oil and water. The correct answer is false. Next, Angelo used sieving to separate the small shells from the sand he had collected. The right answer is true. How about evaporation occurs when a liquid changes into a gas? The correct answer is true. Number 4. Sieving is the best technique to get salt from salty water. The correct answer is false. Number 5. During the heating process of a salt solution, the residue produced is called ice crystals. The correct answer is false. For our reinforcement, imagine that you are going to celebrate your birthday and you are planning to prepare a fruit drink for the beverage. All you need to do is to design a procedure that you have to follow. Use 2 or more separation techniques in your procedure.
So, how did you find your assessment? Is it easy? I know, right? Is it easy for you because you participated actively in our discussion? And I know that you have learned something today in our lesson. Once again, I am Teacher Rona Lil saying, live to learn and we will really learn to live. Bye!